Hello, konnichiwa, this is Setsuna, and we're back with new Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony Chapter 2 Core Preparation. Man, that's a mouthful. Okay, so, just like last chapter, I will go through all the skills, add some skills, and I think I have to switch around a couple. And then we will go through the truth bullets, and I will talk about some, like, big suspects and who I've seen other people suspect to be the killer and all of those kinds of stuff. So, okay, let's start with these skills. Yeah, so I already have a bunch of skills. I have, let's see. I have Envious Influence, increases maximum influence a lot, effective during all parts of a class trial. Can be combined with Attentive Influence. And then I also have increases maximum, god, I can't, can I stop moving? Okay. I also have increases maximum focus a lot, so these two would be really good. I got most of these from the casino. And then I have Tranquility, makes the Recco stop shaking, and yeah, so hopefully that would help me get more of these spots. Then we have increases the speed of fire truth bullets, makes the silencer fire rapidly, and reveals V points, but I don't think I could use, I need to get rid of one of them, and I think I'll get rid of this one just because, I don't know, I'll just see if it works. It's also the one with the lowest amount, so I think I'll use it the least. Hopefully I can still get the V points without using this, but there's a skill that I want to get. Let's see, where is it? It's one of the really expensive ones because I remember telling myself to save up and not use any of my friendship fragments. It's one of the 16 ones. Lost in Thought, no, I don't need more time. I already have a 16 one. Oh, I think it's one of these two. Neural Liberation. The focus gauge drains slower while concentrating and during fever time. Oh. Yeah, this one might be good. And then Delusion slowly recovers the influence gauge. I think I'm good on influence. So yeah, I'll get it. Whatever. I'm sure I'll get much more, many more levels to get more skills. Wait, okay, so I need to set it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I wouldn't be able to use the other skill. So I'll add that next chapter. Tragedy strikes during Himiko's magic show, and Ryoma is killed. Shuichi must now complete the new trial to fulfill Kaede's wish, I'm guessing. Yeah, okay. Then now we'll check out the handbook. Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting that I changed the theme. Do I want to change it again? No, yeah, maybe I'll change it after the trial. Okay, so, truth bullets. I'm all over the place. Monokuma fell 2. The victim is the ultimate tennis pro Ryoma Hoshi. The victim's body was discovered in the gym. The cause of death was drowning. Afterwards, the victim's body was consumed by piranhas until only the bones remained. Gonta's account. During the magic show, and when the timer hit 20 seconds, Gonta went up to the top of the stage. No one was in the tank at that time. During that time, Gonta didn't notice Ryoma inside the tank until after the piranhas were released. But that's if we believe Gonta, but of course Gonta is a lovely man, so we will believe him. Insect meet and greet. The night before, Shuichi and some of the others were forced to stay in the ultimate entomologist lab by Gonta, who was tricked by Kokichi. So yeah, at 8 o'clock, all of these people have an alibi. And then at 8:55, all of these guys have an alibi. So Himiko and Angie were brought in 5 minutes to 9 p.m. Kokichi left the lab at 9 p.m. So here, yeah, so right now, from the other one, we added Himiko and Angie, and then after that, Kokichi left from 9 to 11. So Shuichi and the others were forced to participate in the insect meet and greet until after 11 p.m. Crime piranhas. The piranhas that ate Ryoma. Before the magic show, Angie said it looked like there were more piranhas compared to when she prepared for the show the night before. Square glass pane. A square glass pane that was at the bottom of the piranha tank where Ryoma's body had appeared. The other bits of glass were shattered, but this pane remained perfectly square. Scratched handcuffs. Locked handcuffs that were in the water tank for the Underwater Escape Act. Since it was made out of stainless steel, it was difficult to leave any scratch marks, but small scratches were still visible. It seems to have been taken out of the shower room in the Ultimate Tennis Pros lab. Wet staircase. Behind the stairs that led up to the stage, there was a puddle. The stairs themselves were not wet in certain places. Doesn't seem like the stairs could have gotten wet when the water tank broke. So yeah, that's where Himiko came out of. That sounds weird. I regret saying that. Anyway, piranha tank. The water tank that had the piranhas inside. It was kept in the Ultimate Magician's lab and was carried over by Kaito, Kibo, Himiko, and Angie. During the magic show, it was hung over the water escape tank, using the control panel on the stage lights. Only the front side was made out of glass, the other sides were made out of wood. It looks like there was no lid from the start. Okay, so yeah, the box is basically just walls with a door, I guess you could say, on the bottom, and no top. Marked window frame. The window frame of the top window in the gym. It had distinct abrasions, as if it was scratched by something. There was the same distinct abrasions on the window frame of the Ultimate Tennis Pros lab window. The window faced the pool and gym. Kokichi's account. Immediately after Kokichi left the Ultimate Entomologist lab at 9 p.m. last night, he was caught by Kirumi in the entrance hall. He stayed with her until 10 p.m. After, he went to the dorms and returned to the Ultimate Entomologist lab at 11 p.m. He saw a figure of a girl in lingerie wander... He saw the figure of a girl in lingerie wandering around the courtyard a few times. I wonder who that could be. Water tank trick. Hatch near the top that opens the water escape tank. Pool rules. Entering the pool is prohibited during nighttime. A black piece of fabric. A piece of fabric that was floating in the pool. At first glance, it looked like trash. Yeah. Scratched sink. The sink in the Ultimate Tennis Pros lab. It looked large enough to fill a good amount of water into it. There were small scratches on it, as if it was scraped by something. Tennis net cable. Found on the ground in the Ultimate Tennis Pros lab. The tennis net cable was properly set up when Shuichi came to the lab the first time around, but the wire had been taken out later. The wire was around 50 feet in length. Witnessing Ryoma. The last person who saw Ryoma was Gonta. It was around 8 p.m. last night. Miu also saw Ryoma 30 minutes before that. Maki alone. Maki was standing guard in front of her lab last night. She stayed in her dorm room only during nighttime. And that's all of the truth bullets we have. Okay. So yeah, we have a decent amount of truth bullets. We have a lot of clues that go with, I guess, yeah, the same thing as last chapter. The alibi and kind of like the stuff that happened around. A lot of stuff with the magic show. Now, we don't need presents. Let's check the report card. Oh, now we have 3 X's. Okay, so, yeah, we're gonna go through each character. We'll also look at the free time events of the people who we did this chapter, or at least 2 of the people we did. And, I will talk about, somewhat rambling on about what I've seen, who I've seen people suspect and why, and just who would be the top suspects. Just in general, if I were playing this for the first time, who would I suspect? So, Shuichi, I think he's very much safe, because I can't see the game pulling the same trick twice in a row, and Shuichi didn't really have like a huge impact on the actual motive or anything. He had Kaito's motive, but that wouldn't lead to Ryoma's death at all. Shuichi never like did any weird plans and stuff. And Shuichi obviously didn't act weird. It would be weird to kill him off so early on, right when he's finally getting some development and more relationships with the people around. I mean, in some ways, I guess you could say it would fulfill Kaede's wish of attempting to end the killing game by killing the mastermind, even though it would be killing the person who's least likely to be the mastermind. Anyway, I digress. Shuichi is very much safe. Although it would be funny if every chapter the protagonist changes. Or every chapter the protagonist is the culprit. So then chapter 3 would be Kaito, and then chapter 4, I guess, Maki, and then after that would be Kokichi, just whoever was the assistant to the protagonist. The trial beforehand. And then the final chapter, chapter 6? Yeah, chapter 6, after Kokichi's protagonist in chapter 5, and he dies. Chapter 6, I don't know, we'll go with Tsumugi, or Kibo. Anyway, enough rambling on about random theories, although I would think that that's really interesting. I'd love to see that actually happen. I would hate it, but you know, it's great. And then yeah, oh, and we have the friendship fragments. Okay, let's go to Kaito. I would say Kaito's a decent suspect. It would really, like, if Kaito was the actual culprit, it would put a big mental toll on Shuichi again. Like, he really can't trust anyone. Kaito doesn't exactly have a motive, especially since we know that Shuichi has his motive video. Kaito does have a relationship with Ryoma that they talked about a little bit during the investigation about how Kaito used to be in the tennis club. But I still feel like that wouldn't really make sense, and Kaito did do some suspicious things, like making up a weird excuse for not being caught by Gonta, and like running around, oh, I had to like meet up with someone, or I had plans to meet up with someone, but he never said who that person was, not even to Shuichi. My guess is that it would have been like, I don't know, Maki that he was meeting up with, but their relationship hadn't really started yet unless there was something going on beforehand, because it is also weird that Kaito suddenly, like after this trial in chapter 3, suddenly tried to be really close with Maki. But in general, Kaito did do some suspicious things, and he wasn't there in the morning during the magic show, which is something that he probably would have wanted to be at, but I think the reason he wasn't there was because of his illness is already starting, which is great. I do like that, those kinds of details. So then they try to keep the story going, and that Kaito's sick even if it's not explicitly shown in the actual story, because it's not revealed until the end of chapter 3. But yeah, I think that's very neat. Anyway, I'm sorry, I keep pulling blanks, and sorry, I'm very thirsty. Okay, moving on from Kaito. Oh, Ryoma. Yeah, Ryoma was such, like, I've said it multiple times ever since we were introduced to him, but he's such a cool character. A lot of people, like, their first reactions to Ryoma is, like, that his voice is super deep for how he looks, and that he looks very different compared to the other characters, like, art-wise, and, like, height, form, everything, despite Ryoma being very strong and like having a really cool backstory of like taking down the mafia. And yeah, Ryoma is a really good character. In my opinion, he's a well-written character that, like, it is sad to see him go so soon in a pretty forgetful way, but then again, it's in some ways fitting for his personality of like dying the way he was left. He really didn't have any hope, even if obviously if they escaped he would just go straight back to prison. And I don't know, I feel like Ryoma multiple times have like encouraged Shuichi in some ways. He would like say a lot of motivational things to a lot of different people. He had the suggestion in chapter 1 of like someone killing Ryoma so that that person who murdered him would be able to escape into the outside world and call for help. Like, he was willing to sacrifice his life after just like 3-4 days of being in the Ultimate Academy and meeting all of these people. And I don't know, I feel like Ryoma's interactions with everyone is really cool. During the last trial, he had a lot of interesting theories. Most of them weren't like on the dot, but he still contributed a lot. He got the player and the other characters thinking about different possibilities, and he did help to kind of show the player different mechanisms, like the rebuttal showdown. I think, yeah, he was the first one we did that with. So all in all, Ryoma, great character, really underrated, and deserves so much more attention, and yeah, just great character, love him. So height 3'5", chest 24 inches, weight 88 pounds, blood type B, date of birth is July the 1st, and likes Russian blues, dislikes white-tipped reef sharks. Notes the ultimate tennis pro. Level 1 of his friendship fragments. He's lost his passion for tennis. I asked him about his old teammates, and he seems more than happy to talk about them, but he says that has nothing to do with him anymore. Level 2. I asked him about games he played against his rivals, and it was truly incredible. I never would have thought that tennis could involve so many special techniques, but he seemed distant and said he didn't want to remember that stuff. Oh, yeah, but Ryoma, wonderful character. Can't wait to see more of him in the extra games, the side games, and finish his free time events. Next, we got Rontaro. Totally the culprit. Yep, he killed Ryoma. Yeah, I don't know. I will say that I will say that the interaction that Ryoma had with Rontaro in Chapter 1, after Ryoma suggested that someone else kills him, and Rontaro says, no, you don't need to do that, I'm going to end this, don't do anything reckless. I don't know, I feel like that was a really nice interaction that a lot of people take for granted, and it in some ways does build up both of their characters, because after Rontaro says that with determination, Ryoma like backs off and says, okay, I'm sorry I said that kind of, like, I apologize for saying something too hasty, and like, good on you for working harder and all that kind of stuff. So I think Rontaro and Ryoma are pretty, like, I could see them being good friends and could honestly help each other out. And yeah, I feel like Rontaro could really help Ryoma out. But that's also just me fangirling. Moving on, Gonta Gokuhara. I do see quite a few people suspect him, mainly because of, like, a lot of people question why he went up on the stage out of nowhere and, like, checked on what was inside. He was the only person that looked inside of the water tank after the curtains were closed and Himiko was supposed to escape. So he could have easily lied about what he saw. Maybe he did see Ryoma in there, maybe he saw Himiko in there, or something along those lines. He could have, like, set it up a way that would help himself out if he were the culprit. But obviously, everyone knows that Gonta is a gentleman who would never do that kind of thing. And yes, so I think that most people who suspect Gonta only suspecting for those kinds of reasons, and that he didn't have a huge impact. He also went along with Kokichi's suggestions of the motive video screening party, which I think a lot of people think, like, oh wait, why is Gonta doing this? He seems pretty suspicious. But no, that's just Gonta being Gonta and being the clueless cinnamon bun that he is. Kokichi, on the other hand, no, I don't think a lot of people suspect Kokichi at all. Yes, he did do he did do a lot of questionable things, like the motive video screening party, but then again, Kaito later suggests that Kaito later suggests that we should have maybe shown each other our motives, so that kind of helps Kokichi's case in a way. And also, you just can't imagine wasting Kokichi, this kind of character, in this kind of way. Yeah, Kokichi didn't have a huge impact on this chapter. He wasn't a focal point. And I think most players, after going through GR1, GR another episode, and SGR2, obviously, with the antagonists from those, that you don't kill off the greatest character, a very well-written character, so soon in the story. Not a chapter 2 death. Korekio, I don't know. I feel like Kyo's just kind of there in this chapter. He doesn't really do anything at all. Yeah, like he was there in the insect meet and greet, but he didn't do, like, he wasn't a huge part of that. He hardly said anything. And same with, like, he was there during the magic show. He also didn't really do much in the way of anything during the during the investigation as well. He just kind of led Shuichi towards the side of the stage, but he himself didn't contribute that much. He really is just there, and yeah, he didn't really have many interactions with Ryoma to begin with, so it would really be kind of out there to just kill him off as like the culprit in this chapter before we know anything about him, or before we learn anything about him. Kibo, on the other hand, Kibo's also kind of there this entire chapter. The biggest impact he plays is during the insect meet and greet, when he shows off his recording function, and I will say that it is pretty out there and random for him to suddenly show that for like no reason. It's never brought up other than that one moment. And yeah, it is more so just like a segue to kind of make Kibo look a little cool while also toning down on the insect meet and greet. But other than that, yeah, Kibo could be a suspect just because, like, if you narrow down the suspects, repeating the same words over and over again. But yeah, if you narrow down who could be the culprit, you could come to the conclusion that it might be Kibo, because he also helped out Kaito, Himiko, and Angie bring the stage and all the equipment to the gym, so maybe he knew something about it. He's a robot, you don't know what he could do, and because of those kinds of details, one could come to the clue, or like make a guess that Kibo might be the culprit. But again, that's kind of just like picking whoever's left. Kirumi, we'll get to you last. We'll do you last. Okay. Himiko, on the other hand, I don't know. I feel like Himiko's too obvious of a suspect to really suspect, because the other characters, especially Kokichi and Angie, like push that, oh, maybe Himiko's the culprit because it's her magic show and she knew everything about the trick and how it would work and all of that kind of stuff. She had a lot of backstage information. But because of that, obviously, if you've played any Danganronpa games, it's most of the time not the person, or the culprit isn't the person that everyone suspects right from the beginning. They could have thrown like a curveball saying, oh, well, Himiko actually was the culprit. The whole time you thought it would be too obvious, but no, it's actually Himiko. But that would also be kind of cheap and kind of useless. She hardly got any development too. And yeah, it would be kind of like wasteful to kill Himiko as just being the culprit and killing off two short characters in one chapter. Next, we got Maki. Yeah. No, I don't think that anyone really suspects Maki because of how little she had to do with the plot in this chapter. She even more than Kyo, was just there, although Maki did have that kind of like mystery behind why she was suddenly super protective of her lab and wouldn't let anyone inside and never like left her lab. She was always there, which is why people would think, oh, well then there has to be more to Maki. They wouldn't just kill Maki right here, right now, without going further with her plot line. So yeah, I doubt anyone really suspects Maki. She also has no reason to kill Ryoma. Like, she doesn't really have a motive. She never checked her motive video, although that could have been a lie, and it would just be random to kill Maki. Tenko. Tenko, I could see people suspect Tenko. Honestly, I might even suspect her, just because like her whole thing with Himiko really has started to become stronger this chapter and more prominent. We also got to have a secret event with her which could kind of foreshadow the fact that she might die soon. But then again, other than the fact that it's Himiko, there's no other reason for her to kill Ryoma other than he's a male. But I feel like Ryoma's one of the better guys in this group, and I don't think he's really like offended Tenko in any way. So I think that I think that I think that Tenko's safe from suspicion, but she is still a suspect. Tsumugi, just like Kyo, hasn't really done anything at all this chapter, which is fine. You could suspect her because of that. She's so plain, you can't even imagine what you would do with her character, but in the other way, you could imagine what they might use her character for, and yeah, I feel like Tsumugi's a safe bet to use as the culprit, but also, like, she had nothing to do with this chapter, so there's really no reason. She wasn't even in any of the events this chapter, so yeah, I don't think that Tsumugi's a safe bet, but she's still there, and she also has a black, or I guess it's more like a dark blue, bluish green, navy blue dress, and her jacket, which isn't shown in this profile, but she does have that, which might link to the black fabric that was found in the pool. But other than that, again, there's not much to go off of for her. Angie, honestly, for me, I would probably suspect Angie the most, just because, or Angie and Miu. Angie, in the sense that she had to do with the magic show. She was also there during the second meet and greet, so that at first would make her look safe. And Angie has been showing like some different sides to herself, which like obviously becomes stronger in the next chapter. But I could see Angie and like in some ways framing Himiko. Angie also was acting kind of weird and being like overly cheerful for the magic show and making jokes about how like, oh, if Himiko dies, then make sure to clap. And yeah, you know, like I get that that's her type of humor, but it doesn't really go with the situation. And then my other guess is Miu, because of obviously she has those kinds of gloves that are, I guess, black. They're a little like off shaded black. I don't think that's a phrase. But yeah, I don't know, and Miu would be able to set up that and think of those kinds of contraptions, like the I forgot what they call it, but what is it called? The zipline thing. I forget what they call it. A ropeway. Miu could have made the ropeway that goes from window to window, and like she would be able to set up that kind of murder. It's very much in her kind of, not exactly niche, but like she would know more about those kinds of contraptions. So yes, I would probably suspect Miu the most. I would have. Then Kaede is obviously the culprit because she wanted a second try at murdering the she wanted a second try to murder the victim. Or no, what am I saying? She wanted a second try to murder the mastermind. Failed again, but you know, that's why we love Kaede. Anyway, going back to... You're right. Yeah, no. That's not what I meant to press. Okay. Back to Kirumi. Yeah, I would probably, if I thought about it hard enough, I would probably come to the conclusion that maybe it's Kirumi, and I do see a lot of people that get it right. Like, they think, oh, well, Kirumi's been pretty prominent this chapter. She's gotten her, like, spotlight multiple times, and everyone's been relying on her. You really can't see her living past this chapter because of that reason. That, like, she's been helping everyone. So, this is somewhat off topic, but Kirumi mentioned how, like, oh, I won't take monetary payment, so you don't have to pay me while we're in here, it's fine, I'll just do everything you need. But I feel like it would be really funny if after the casino opened up, Kirumi suddenly asks for, like, monetary payment for each of her services. or even after they leave the academy, but more so like once the casino opens up. Oh hey, well, now that you guys have these kinds of coins and money that you can actually use to buy stuff, yeah, you guys all have to pay me back for all of the service I did. I cooked you guys breakfast a couple times, some lunch and dinner, and I even like gave you guys, or I almost gave you guys massages. I set up your entire pool party, Tenko, and all of that kind of stuff. I don't know, I feel, and like I sewed the curtains for you, Angie. I'm just so amused by the thought of Kirumi suddenly asking for like cold hard cash from each of the students. And they just have this huge long bill that they have to pay off. Yeah, just, but she says it in such a polite way that you can't refuse. Anyway, going back to the actual murder, yeah, so I do see a lot of people suspect Kirumi mainly because of the black fabric, and she helped out with the curtains. Some people could also think that it's weird that she stopped Kokichi and like gave him a lecture for an hour and a half, to an hour playing tag with him. Like, it does seem like a forced alibi. So yeah, thinking of those kinds of stuff, you would think that Kirumi is maybe a top suspect. So yeah, for me, Kirumi, number one suspect. Obviously I'm saying that in hindsight. And then Miyu, and then Angie. And maybe Kaito, maybe. And maybe Kyo too, because he's good at ropes and, you know, rope way, all that kind of stuff. But no, he likes ropes in a completely different way. Now, lastly, let's check out her friendship fragments. So wait, first, level 0, Kirumi Tojo. Height, 5'9", wow, she's tall. Weight, 115 pounds, chest 33 inches, blood type B. Date of birth, May 10th. Likes cleaning, dislikes taking days off, notes the ultimate maid. Info, level 1. A genuine maid who takes every word as an order. She makes wonderful tea and her abilities are endless. Yeah, Kirumi's so overpowered. She can do anything. She's honestly amazing and is a great best girl candidate. And honestly, like, if she is your best girl, you're set for life. She's great. She's stunning, beautiful. I like that in this CG you could actually see both of her eyes. Although, wait, is her hair swooped in the opposite direction? I'm gonna have to check that later because I think her hair, wait, okay, this is gonna bother me until I check, but isn't her hair like swooped in the opposite direction? Like, isn't it usually on the left? Or am I just going crazy? I know, that just caught my attention. Anyway, I keep getting distracted. Okay, level 2. She told me that she has helped many people rise to greatness, and that she senses greatness in me. She claims that if she becomes my maid, I can walk the same path to glory that her previous masters did. I really want to learn more about Kirumi's backstory, and even if it's not exactly Kirumi's backstory, but more so like how she does the things she does. And I feel like Kirumi is like honestly a very healthy person to be around because she can help you out, just like how she's genuinely helping Shuichi out during the second free time event. Not just in like the physical, oh, I'll give you tea and stuff, but in the mental, like I can actually help you out, don't worry about it. But it makes you do kind of want to help Kirumi out even more, since, you know, your girl needs a hug. Anyway, with that, I did have a couple notes of things I was thinking about, like, all throughout, like, editing the investigations and stuff. But, to get to those, let's see. Oh, wait, no. There's one thing I want to say about one of the characters, that being Kokichi Oma. And because he had the whole motive video screening party, he planned it all out. He wanted everyone to show each other their motives. But would Kokichi have actually shown his motive to everyone? Because I feel like nobody else is going to want to share their motives with each other when Kokichi, the person who organized the whole thing, doesn't even want to share his own motive with them. Because, like, I feel like it's safer for Kokichi to share his motive, but then again, if they learned about his motive video, he would see, everyone would see that his 10,000 member evil organization is actually just a group of 10 clowns that Kokichi takes care of, and all they do is petty non-violent crimes, and that Kokichi's very much against murder and killing. So, like, in some ways that would make it more wholesome, but then again that would ruin his entire momentum, and it's a big piece of, like, information to just be revealed out of nowhere right from the beginning. So obviously this doesn't happen. Nobody ends up sharing their motives with each other. But just a thought of, would Kokichi have actually shown his motive video to everyone? Or would he make up an excuse saying, oh, I never found mine, or I guess mine's missing? And that kind of, like, half-baked lie. Now, one more thing. I want to check out the school rules, so we'll quickly go through this, and then there's one rule that I want to think about, or talk about. I keep rambling. You're still here. Thank you so much. Okay, also, I completely keep losing my voice while talking about this, so I am drinking some water on the side. Okay. Ultimate Academy for Gifted Juvenile School Rules. I never actually looked at these. Okay. Students must live at the Ultimate Academy for the remainder of their foreseeable future. Once a murder takes place, all surviving students must participate in a class trial. If the Blackened is exposed during the class trial, they alone will be executed. If the Blackened is not exposed, all remaining students will be executed. If the Blackened survives the class trial, they will graduate and re-enter the outside world. The killing game in class trials will continue until only 2 surviving students remain. Nighttime is from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. The dining hall and gymnasium are off limits at night. Yeah, very important. Oh yeah, I guess... well, I'll get to it later, but I guess this could also go with what I wanted to talk about. Violence towards Monokuma, the headmaster at the Ultimate Academy, is strictly prohibited. Monokuma will never directly commit a murder. Your monopets are very important items. Please do not damage them. The body discovery announcement will play when 3 or more students discover a body. With minimal restrictions, you are free to explore the campus at your discretion. Students who violate these rules will be immediately exterminated by the Exisals. Swimming is prohibited in this pool during nighttime. Touching the water is also against the rules. Further, there may be new additions to the school rules according to the convenience of the headmaster. I like the animation, how it flips between Monokuma and the logo of the Ultimate Academy. So, this is the one that I want to talk about. Swimming is prohibited and touching the water is against the school rules. So if you went inside the pool, basically, you would get exterminated by the Exisals. And that's the same thing with entering the gym or dining hall at nighttime. So, what I was, like, theorizing about is a what-if situation of, I don't know, this doesn't have to be these people, but we're just gonna use Kaito and Kokichi, because it's the most convenient. But let's just say that for some reason they were fighting near the pool, and they were, like, pushing each other, they were, like, getting, like, a weird fight, I don't know. But yeah, so they were fighting, they were pushing each other, maybe it was staged, maybe it wasn't, and then one of them, let's just say Kaito pushes Kokichi inside the pool during nighttime. So in that situation, would Kaito become the Blackened, or would it just be that, like, Kokichi violated the school rules, so he has to be exterminated by the Exisals, and that's it? Or would he be exterminated by the Exisals, but then would Kaito be blamed for the murder and would become the Blackened? Because in that situation, I guess you could say if Kaito purposefully pushed Kokichi in the pool and, like, got him exterminated, I guess you could say that Kaito is the Blackened. But if it was by accident that someone, like, tripped in the pool or, like, fell in the pool, but it looked like someone else pushed him in, would that count as, like, that person being a Blackened? Or if both of those do end up being like, oh, well, the person who pushed him in is the Blackened, yada yada yada, even if it was by accident, then what if Kokichi and Kaito plan this out beforehand and they're, like, fighting by the pool, and then Their plan was to make it seem like Kaito pushed Kokichi in the pool, when in actuality Kokichi purposefully kicked himself into the pool, making it seem like Kaito's the blackened, but also like turns out Kokichi's actually the culprit, or like he did it himself, so he killed himself. So like that, I feel like that would make for an interesting trial, but it would be really hard to tell who would be like blamed in that scenario. Would Kaito be blamed? Would Kokichi just be blamed and nothing happens other than obviously him being executed by the Exisals? I don't know, maybe none of that made any sense to you, but I just want to talk about that. And yeah, so I think that's everything that I really want to talk about in terms of, like, we went to the school rules, talked about each of the people, and then we checked the present, or we didn't check the presents, but we don't really need to, and the truth bullets. So yeah, with that, I think we will continue on with the class trial in the next video. So thank you all for watching. Again, let me know who you thought would be the culprit. Who did you think killed Ryoma? How did you think it happened, maybe? Too, if you could comment that too, that'd be really cool. And then yeah, let me know your thoughts on this investigation, this trial, and we'll continue on with chapter 2, A Thin Line Divides Heaven and Hell, in the next video. I'll see you all then. Bye!